that deals with a lot of the issues, mental illness issues that we face in our community. And what I can tell you, having been involved in the programs that we have in this community that deal with mental health, it's about respect and understanding in the community when you talk about the issue of bullying. I understand that when there's a new culture in any community, fear comes from the rest because they don't know who they are. And yes, you've been here 40 years, and yes, you're part of the American fabric now. This is your home. But a lot of people still think and are threatened by that. So the result is bullying. So I think the answer falls in two categories. One is the family. You know, my culture, like yours, the family is the strength of the family unit. So it's always important that we maintain that relationship and that strength within the family to keep us together. But when you step outside your door, your children go to school, your children go to different recreational facilities, they go throughout the city. And it's important that we all create and further the understanding amongst us, the education community, and everybody so that we understand each other's culture. Because once we understand each other's cultures and how we live, then from that comes respect and understanding.
Next person.
So my name is H. Spies, and I've worked with the Hmong and the Lao communities for 32 years. And my view is that bullying is unacceptable. Why? Because bullying implies a lack of equality. Hmong and Lao people established their equality with other Americans by fighting side by side with other Americans in Southeast Asia. And by fighting for independence and fighting their way into this community and establishing businesses. And I think that the future that will eliminate bullying is more Hmong police officers, more Lao and Hmong police officers, teachers, sheriffs, business owners, and to strengthen what is already a very strong movement of Hmong and Lao independence in this community. That is what will resist bullying. When I was with a senior health planner with the health department, we had a problem because Hmong and Lao and Cambodian people were brand new in this community. And we could have done a number of things to improve health care. But what I chose to do, because I was in charge of that, was to go to the elders and to ask the elders what the problems were in the community, and then to identify resources from the health department through the elders to work with paraprofessionals that we hired from the Fresno State to make access to health care. That's the approach that I would take as mayor, to include the community in the solution. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be at the first Southeast Asian Hmong Laotian Forum. It's an honor to be here. I understand why you're here. I understand. I think you've been voicing your voice for a long time. A lot of people here standing here at this podium have worked in the city, for the city of Fresno or the county, one way, in one form or another. The reason why I'm running is because, as I can see in the crowd here, you need to be paid attention to. I've seen the Hmong, Laotian, Southeast Asian community grow over the years in Southeast Fresno and Southwest. The neglect of our leaders has caused our issues in our local neighborhoods. My name is Richard B. Renteria. I understand that when you have a young youth whose life is taken away, it concerns the older generation because they don't want to see their children dying at an younger age. As a mayor, I'll reinforce Southeast Asia, Southeast Fresno, with a community police force that's friendly and is well known in their community and in their neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to our second presenter, Lisa Zhang.
Hello, my name is Lisa Zhang, and I am a junior from Central East High School. Many young people are looking for leadership roles, role models, and mentors. Our young people want to see more Hmong people in leadership positions, so we can have role models to look up to and be proud in knowing that we too can be great leaders someday. For example, when Senator nrhiav became the first Hmong senator in Minnesota, all the Hmong people were very proud. She was the pioneer for many young people to follow her path. As mayor, will you hire our people for some of these leadership positions? How will you promote leadership and mentorship for the young generation so that we can be proud of our heritage and become more active with civic engagement and be more productive citizens? Maybe even run for office someday.
And the first person to start is Doug Major.
Thank you. I look forward to this community thriving in a vitality like no other community has in America. When I was a county supervisor, one of the problems we faced was the fact that the folks from Laos, and Thailand, and other areas of Southeast Asia came to this country and went and were driven to north states like Minnesota and others. Some stayed, some did not want to stay. When they came to California, they lost all their rights. They lost all their refugee rights, the grants and aids. We fought that, we stopped that, and we allowed the folks to move in America where they wanted to move and not lose that right. I'm proud of the fact that we did that because the Hmong community deserves it. Housing and those other issues are so important in this community. We should not be spending our money on one place like we just did in the downtown mall. Millions, $14 million project, about 10 or so million of it is all public money that could go into housing. Somerset housed the apartments. You look at the pictures of the folks there. A lot of Southeast Asians. Every one of them could qualify for a substance assistance grant for housing. The city of Fresno gave it all to one developer on the downtown mall. That's wrong. That needs to go to our community. That needs to go into the housing that we live in. It needs to go into the apartments that are substandard. I promise you as mayor, I will not forget that. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Henry.
Yes, thank you. That was a great question. My parents came from Mexico, so they had a similar journey to yours in coming to a country where they did not understand the culture, the language. But they persevered, they raised a family, and we succeeded. Just like some of your speakers have said, in this room there are teachers, there are lawyers, there are business people, there are people in many professions that are here. So you're doing the things that you have to do to be successful. When I was elected to the city council in 1997, I met with General Van Gaal at the time and his leadership team, and we had a discussion about Fresno and what the issues were for the community. And one commitment I made to the general and the group was that I would bring a Hmong staff member onto my city council office, which I did. And he served as my liaison to the Southeast Asian community during that period of time. As your mayor, my commitment to you will be to guarantee you, to ensure to you that we will have more of the Southeast Asian community integrated into City Hall, whether it's our police officers, our administration, and other key committees that we have on the city. Because once we integrate you more into City Hall, we reach out more to you, then we're going to be more connected. That's going to make us all stronger. Because we can only be as strong as every element of this community is as we make it a part of City Hall. So that will be my commitment to you as your mayor.
Please speak.
So when I was in charge of the refugee health program, I hired Hmong, Lao, and Cambodian people. When I was director of Youth for Christ, I hired Hmong and Lao staff members. Today, I'm a business owner. My wife runs a business caring for children. And we have Hmong and Lao employees. Jobs and education and strong businesses are the key to the future for you. You already know that. And you already have role models. And some of the folks that I've had the chance to work with over the years are right here in this room. What I will do as mayor is that you will have my ear. On my advisory team, we will have folks from the Hmong and the Lao community as a part of my inner circle of advisors. And in addition to that, we will listen very carefully, based on the last question, to young people in the community. You have a commissioner on the Mayor's Youth Commission right now. Name, are you here? Where are you? Stand up, would you? Let's give him a hand. We will continue to have voices from the community at every level of the city. My goal will be to have representation in every department: police, fire, code enforcement, every department.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next person. I'm going to rephrase the question again one more time, okay? As a mayor, will you hire people for some of these leadership positions? How will you promote leadership and mentorship for the young generation so that we can be proud of our heritage and become more active with civic engagement and be more productive citizens, maybe even run for office someday?
As a mayor, I would hire any youth who wants to be a leader in their community. Anybody who has the qualifications for a particular position in the city, working for the city, step up, submit your application, get involved. That young lady who just asked that question, she's getting involved. We need the youth in your community to step up. The older generation has done their best to provide for their youth, even under the conditions that we have. You don't live in the best conditions. I've seen it in the paper, I've seen it firsthand. But your community strives and is strong. And you now have a word, or now have a word in City Hall. They're starting to listen. A mayor that supports the community, and every community looks forward to the voices that come out of those communities, whether it be this area, or Southwest, or Northwest, or Northeast. Thank you.
We have a saying, walk the walk, talk the talk. In other words, when you talk about issues or you actually do things. I do things. My good friend and colleague, Long Zhang, I worked with for 6 years on City Council with Meyer, addressing Hmong issues of Hmong gardening when we had the funeral of General Bang Pao, we had the convention center, we had the city accommodated the Hmong community for over a week to show our commitment. When Long Zhang ran for supervisor, I supported Long Zhang, even when my own support base was criticizing me. We have 2 outstanding candidates for State Center Junior College. Brandon Bang, Brandon, stand up. And Pao Yang, Pao. These 2 gentlemen are running for State Center Junior College. I've endorsed both of them. That's putting your mouth and your actions where it means a lot, and not simply talking about things. So I've been in my 7.5 years of City Council has worked endlessly with my colleagues, Long Zhang and Meyer, on finding solutions for Hmongs and promoting leadership in Hmongs, including our police force, our fire department, and so on. Thank you.
Our next presenter is our community leader, an elder, and who is the chair of SJU Veterans and Family, Major Yalong Fay.
lúc nào giờ ít mò và rồng ít nuôi rồng trong xe để chi tu khởi điện để chi bê giờ bê tàu xe thì chi tu là ít tu giờ bê tu bê giờ thì tu tàu bây giờ bạn rồi phải bê để cho tàu đi ta nên cũng cho ở tàu để bê cho lòng nó cũng cần phải để họ phải đầu là mà bê số chục cho lời của liệu tết thì bê ở con đỡ bê là ông tôi lưu lụ là gì nào thì bây giờ nhiều một cái đó ta là họ chỉ có vào thì bây giờ mình nói là tàu chỉ mình theo một bộ ít khó trở lại rồi tới giờ tới rồi thì bây giờ nó ok bây giờ mong là mình người nhẹ nó ok giờ đi tới của đó lù thì giờ chỉ tụi nó đi thì tao biết tụi cho mình nó đi đi xã để con trả nó vì nó khó nó khó sai được một luôn bây giờ ít tu một lúc rồi tao ba cái hai này mình cả cái là tao còn ok còn chưa được rồi thì chỉ biết tôi sẽ cho nó biết cho một lúc rồi mình phải đi hành giờ từ từ tao một biết tụi trong người nó đi bỏ 10 đứa chuyện của giờ ba bây giờ cũng ta hạn trả bây giờ
Most of our Hmong parents are farmers who limited English. They work very hard to get their children to college and to a higher education. When most of these children have graduated, there are not many jobs and opportunity in Fresno. That means they move to different cities due to no job in Fresno. This forces young people in college graduate to leave town to find jobs elsewhere and leave their families. As an elder are getting older, the young people can't help but care for their parents because they're out of town. We're losing our youth and those who are helping Fresno a better place. And as you know, Fresno, the Hmong community, they like to be close, with our young leaving town, there's no one to care for our elder. As mayor, how are you going to help create more jobs for a college graduate? And will you prioritize hiring for Hmong graduate? And he also included that he is an SGU veteran from his nonprofit, and also what benefits will you also help veterans? So he has 2 questions. Sorry, the second question is not here, but what he just said is, as a veteran, what other benefit will you provide for the Hmong community? As a veteran, what veteran benefit will you be able to?
Okay. Yes, there's no question that one of the top priorities of my mayor's administration is to bring more jobs into Fresno County. I mean, we know that we have a very strong agricultural community, and we need to protect that, but we have to be bigger than that. For the past 6 years, I've been working every day on high-speed rail. High-speed rail is going to be one of those opportunities to create a new job base in Fresno County. And right now, there's about $3 billion of construction that is occurring in Madera and Fresno. And right now, we are hiring a lot of companies to do the work on the high-speed rail. So the outreach that we've been doing to all sectors of the community, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, everybody that has been certified, there is some type of work that's going to be happening there in the high-speed rail. Now that's just one opportunity. We have people that are going across the world that just came back from Germany from a high-level manufacturing summit. And basically what we're doing is we're starting to now look at what are the types of industries and manufacturing that we can bring into Fresno so that we can have more jobs for our families, for the adults, the parents, as well as the kids as they graduate from college. I work with Dr. Castro to work with the university to bring more also opportunities in terms of education for our children so that we can have, as an example, a new planning program at the university that I've worked with him on that is going to be starting its first class next year. So the key is education opportunities for our children and, of course, bringing more jobs to Fresno County.
The first thing I will do as mayor will be to work with the Hmong community to establish a Hmong Chamber of Commerce and a Hmong Farmers Cooperative. Why? To make stronger the businesses, the strong businesses that are already in the Hmong and Lao communities, so that those businesses can hire their children and their children's children. That's the key. The key to the future is going to be family business. But in addition to that, there are 3 areas where we need to create jobs that are good jobs, good paying jobs for our Hmong and Lao graduates. Technology, manufacturing, and healthcare. Technology. Bitwise Industries, the owner of that is Jake Soberall. 107 technology companies right now with 1,000 employees. That's growing. Jake is a supporter of mine. Manufacturing, Mike Betts, head of Betts Manufacturing, a multi-million-dollar organization and a part of the Manufacturers Alliance. It's important to grow that and to grow the capacity of manufacturing here, but also what Mike is doing and Jake is doing is reaching down into middle school, high school, and college to create career paths. And then healthcare. Healthcare, manufacturing, and technology, in addition to strengthening family businesses and family farms, will create the opportunities for your young people, your children and grandchildren to stay right here and be employed. Thank you.
I'm not a politician, and I'm not going to make any promises. We have some gentlemen standing up here who have been supervisor and city council members. And they say they're going to provide these jobs. And they're going to get the educated and make sure that you're top priority in the community. Well, I have to look back. 1997, 1998, 99, 2000. I haven't seen anything change in Fresno. I haven't seen jobs being created by any of the past administrative leaders. I've seen budget cuts that hurt our fire department, hurt our police department. So when people make promises about providing or giving you a job because of your education background, you have to look at their history. It's time to start over, start new, with better ideas for the city of Fresno and for its people. We have educated youth in all nationalities in our city who are looking for jobs. They don't want to leave Fresno, but they've given them no choices, the leaders lately. Thank you.
It's not government's role to create jobs. It's the private sector, market-driven. For 37 years, I've been a businessman. I've generated and created hundreds of jobs. I know what it takes to make jobs. I've been in the private sector. I'm the only candidate with a detailed plan, the Economic Expansion Act, a detailed blueprint to provide the incentives, provide the encouragement and the basis for great jobs in the Fresno area. Fresno has an agricultural economy that's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing that we have the richest land in the world, one of the major exporters of crops in the world, but it doesn't produce a lot of high-paying jobs. We need to bring in manufacturing and industrial jobs, medical jobs. The purpose of the Economic Expansion Act is to create thousands of jobs. And by creating thousands of jobs, you're going to lower unemployment rates. And with lower unemployment rates, you're going to raise wages. If you look at North Dakota during the fracking boom, they got down to 1.9% unemployment. They paid a McDonald's worker $15 an hour. Not because the government mandated it, because nobody would work for less than $15 an hour. So when you have thousands of jobs being produced, lower unemployment, higher wages, you're creating opportunity for the entire community, and particularly the Hmong community, to promote everybody. This is the American success story, to go from poverty and poor to be a part of the American dream and have a successful business. Thank you.
Let me just take one moment to step back on the last question. I would proudly be the appointing person to put the first Hmong member of the Fresno County Planning Commission in place, ntawm. My successor immediately took him off, unfortunately, but I'm proud of that. And we need to have more folks appointed to those positions. As far as the economic base, one of the things I learned when I was in office in the Hmong community was maturing and coming alive with their own vitality and understanding of what community they are in, is the enterprising capability of the Southeast Asians and the Hmong community. Particularly to our farmer friends, the micro farms, the leased land. They got into strawberries like you couldn't believe and created an unbelievable resource for strawberries in our valley. There wasn't so much before the Hmong community came in and got into that agricultural niche. We need to get out of the way from an enterprising standpoint, lessen regulations, and do something else so important. If we don't have water in our community, we don't have economic growth. And one of the things that I'm very concerned about, this city wants to grow all the way to Sanger. And they want us in this room to pay for that water going out to Sanger versus delivering that water to our particular plots of land that grow these micro farms and the other parts of our community that need water. I promise you that those will be the first priorities as your mayor. And the fact that regulation will be allowing you to thrive as a young business. Thank you.
Our next speaker is from Maiku Pai Sisterhood and Hmong Women Today, Tona Her.
Our question to you as mayor candidates, from a Hmong woman perspective, in a city where we have our husbands as leaders and our children in education, and learning the ways of Fresno and become part of the city, and hopefully someday lead as well. Our question here regarding equal opportunity in the city for our people is, since we have nearly 35,000 Hmong people in the Fresno County, and as you may know, the city has not been very sensitive about employing Hmong people into various city departments, such as fire departments, the city hall, city housing and development, road construction, water and park jobs, and others as well. We have, however, seen our Hmong community being hired into the sheriff's department. Our question is, as candidate for our mayor, what are your thoughts regarding to equality in the workplace for our Hmong people? How do you ensure the city staff includes equal opportunity for our Hmong people and to be represented in the city departments?
Persons who started each, please.
Well, that's a great question. And I think that it starts with the understanding that Hmong and Lao people have earned equality. I made that statement earlier. That's an important place to start. Secondly, your students are achieving at high levels, so there should be no reason why there shouldn't be equality in terms of hiring. I could make you a lot of promises, but instead what I do is I point to what I've done in the past in terms of hiring people. In the organizations and in the corporations and in the businesses that we run today, I have a track record of hiring Hmong and Lao folks. And that will be my approach in the future. It's not an issue of qualifications. There are plenty of qualified people in the Hmong community, plenty. The issue will be connectivity, listening, relationship, and an open door as your mayor. I will have Hmong representation on my advisory board from day one. And as a result of that, we will look at hiring practices in every department of the city. And we'll make sure that folks who are qualified have an equal access to those jobs. Thank you.
Richard?
The reason why I'm running for mayor of the city of Fresno is so I can talk in front of people like you. I didn't have to run for mayor. I don't need the job. I'm doing it because I care about the citizens of Fresno, California, and their children. I've seen the neglect in your neighborhoods, the poverty level. Your life Expectancy doesn't last as long as it should when you've been neglected all these years. You need new leadership at City Hall, period. There's no more excuses. I'm done listening to the excuses. My ears are open to the cry of the Southeast area, the Laotian, Southeast Asians, and the Hmong community. My ears are open, my doors will be open. You'll have transparency. You'll know exactly where you stand in this community. You will not take a back seat anymore. Thank you.
This is a good question, and it's absolutely essential that the Hmong community have role models for its youth: teachers, nurses, police, fire, politicians, even future mayors. But I think there's a dual responsibility. Again, government just can't open all the doors. Government can open the door halfway. Within the community itself, within the family itself, you've got to prepare your children. And our job through their school system is to make sure our children are prepared, they can compete, and they can be successful in whatever endeavor they want. I know in my time in the city council worked, particularly the police department, to get Hmong and Asian members on the police department, because I think it's really essential and it's effective in the communities to have somebody that understands the cultural and unique problems they have. We have to have issues in the fire department, but that's something that I would look at and continue to work on at all levels of government. But again, government can't be the panacea, the answer. It's got to be a dual responsibility of the community, the family, and the city. Thank you.
We had a similar question to other forums. African American Forum, not too many weeks ago, asked the exact same question. What we have to be careful of is that we don't parcel out based on one color or one sector of our community, but a whole community. We belong as one community. If one of us is suffering, then all of us are suffering. If we can find ways, and as your mayor, I will find that way, that every sector of our community has equal opportunities. One of the issues at that particular forum, and it seems that this question is the same, is that there was too many so-called lockouts of minority contractors, subcontractors, and these major builders. That has to end. We need to do an outreach to the builders who've got these big contracts. So we have subcontractors that are available right here to do good work. You don't have to bring them in from the outside. A mayor needs to advocate for those groups, our people. If we don't do that, we will be the loser. I will be that person that will take this to every quarter of this community. And anybody who wants to come into this community needs to recognize that we have a broad, vital, and a whole community, and it should not be locked out on one sector or the other. That's why when Toulouse Cowles, my planning commissioner, I expected, this is back in 1996, when we had very few Hmong community members on high-ranking offices. The fact that we can take that and bridge from that to the next level up is what I look forward to. Thank you.
As a county supervisor, we have the Southeast Asian community integrated throughout the county. We have it in our sheriff's department and other departments in our justice system. We have it in our social services department. We have it in our mental health services department, community health. We have a lot of Hmong employee, a lot of Laotian employee, and other members of the Southeast Asian community. You know, I think the opportunity as your next mayor are two things. One is for those of you that are business people that want to do business with City Hall, I think what the city of Fresno needs to do is change its rules so that they're still fair to everybody, but they give the opportunity to small businesses like yours and other communities to come into City Hall to take advantage of the billions of dollars of contracts that we have. Of course, the other opportunity is to increase the hiring within City Hall, from the mayor's office down to every city department. And I think you do that. It's not an issue of qualifications, that has already been said. You all have prepared yourselves for these opportunities. I think the opportunity now is the outreach that City Hall has to do to your community through job fairs, through coming to meetings like this and talking. We have to open the doors to City Hall. I think that's been the main problem at City Hall for probably the past 10 to 15 years, is that the doors have been closed. It's time to open them wider. And I think we have the opportunity to do that as me, your next mayor.
Our next presenter, we're just gonna go. You guys need a break? You guys are good? Our next presenter is community members and coaches.